I've been trying to be a better person. I've been trying to exhibit more love into the world than hatred. I try to make every single day an opportunity where I could uplift someone instead of bring someone down. Unfortunately, I have the privilege of being on the road a lot here in North Texas. And I don't know if you know, but if you're driving and you're in North Texas, these are the literal bottom of the barrel of drivers. I think I've seen multiple articles in which Dallas has been ranked the worst city to drive in. And let me tell you, there's no fibbing. It is absolutely true. I I get in trouble. My parents get upset with me because I like to speed. Now, you might be thinking, "Oh, EJ, how are you going to complain about bad drivers when you are openly admitting to speeding?" Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you my reasoning here, okay? I tell them this as well. These fucking freaks, these actual subhumanoidals who have somehow scavenged their way into acquiring a driver's license of the state of Texas, they love to just be next to each other. You'll have three, four lanes, and everyone just wants to hold hands. They want to hold hands, they want to fucking communicate, they want to hold conversations, share a cup of joe. Now, when you have a bunch of fucking troglodytes behind the wheel in a very closed space, right? They're all right next to each other. You don't want to be near that. Because if you're near these fucking actual gremlins behind the wheel, the risk of them just losing brain function for some reason, the risk of them hitting you because of that increases. So I tell my parents, I go, I'm okay with going 60 and a 45 if that means my car is physically further away from the stupid people, right? But today, as I was practicing what I've always done of just getting away from these fucking, just completely fucking paraplegic ass drivers, I was almost T-boned today. Not because I was speeding, but because a lot of people aren't aware. I'm making a safe right turn into a neighborhood. Guy coming towards me is making a left turn into the same neighborhood and just disregards the fact that I'm already halfway through my turn and just speeds in front of me. I have a knife in my car, and that knife was just speaking to me. He's like, slash his tires. Ugh, slash his tires. But I was on the clock, held it in, right? And I wanted to talk about having to deal with such stressful situations and trying to find a way to succeed despite those. I'm going to use the the horrible fucking driving practices of those who live in North Texas to prove this point. My commute to work is roughly 30 minutes. I drive off Highway 75 and then take 380. Now, these roads are notorious for either being the easiest drive or or the fucking worst. I don't know what it is with people who my the thing I hate the most is when you have three people, three lanes, and you got three people in each lane, and they're all fucking next to each other. So you can't get around them because it's like a fucking wall. They put up a wall in front of you and you can't get past. You can't do anything. They're literally just holding everyone back. I hate that so fucking much, and that happens so often on these roads. More so on 380 than on 75 because people love speeding on that road, and it's beautiful because I love doing that as well. I love just getting past everyone who's stupid. All the stupid people who are going 75, going 80, and they're all next to each other, and they're all like a little fucking shaking, and they look like they're crashing each other. I want to get around that. I don't want to be near that. I don't want to be near these fucking idiots. So I go around. But when I'm in these stressful situations, and I find myself really wanting to just act on impulse and just speed past, or to try to I play mind games sometimes. I'll switch lanes, try and be like, oh, this guy, he's not, he doesn't think I'm going fast enough. And then the guy in the original lane will speed up, and I go back and I go around. I love doing that. I'll try to do something like that, something in which I can still get an advantage, an advantageous position. Fuck. I try to get into a spot in which I can make a move while still not putting my life at risk, right? Because obviously, people in Texas, everyone's got a gun. I don't have a gun. I have a knife. I'm already playing it at a disadvantage there. I remember one day this guy, he's fucking swerving through the lanes, and I was bored, so I just started fucking with him, right? He follows me from like for 20 minutes. He follows me home, and I'm still fucking with him the whole time, still bored as hell. And he's like yelling up next to me. He's like rolling his window down, trying to yell at me. I roll my window down. I'm blasting Kanye at him. Just not. I'm just troll. I'm IRL rage baiting this guy until finally he gets me at a light. He not at a light. He gets me right before a light because I took a little off off the main road kind of section. He gets out of his car. He tries to get to my car. Skinhead, missing half his teeth in the wrong order. He's trying to fight me, right? And all I'm thinking is, if I get out of my car, this guy doesn't get up, you know. And once I saw his physical stature, I was like, okay, well, obviously this guy's a fucking loser. Obviously he's missing half his teeth, so he's obviously on drugs. And if he's not actively on them, he's a user, and his physical strength is not going to be at potential, right? So I win the 1v1. If I were to exit my car. So I kept my cool. I offered him gum because I mean, holy fuck, if you saw his mouth, you would offer him an extra polar ice as well. But he gets back in his car. We pull up to the light, and then at the light, he rolls his window down again. Imagine I'm him, and he's like, pulling up a gun. Pulling up a little gun. And then that's when my demeanor changed, because at this point, no gun was in play. As soon as I see that a gun is in play, just fucking looked straight ahead and drove. And just drove home. I made sure that I was behind him. Because he was behind me the whole time. I made sure I was behind him so he didn't know where I lived. I got home that day. And that was the day I realized that I needed to have a knife in my car. Even though I was rage baiting and I was instigating the hell out of this guy, I thought it was so funny to do it too. And I would do it again, right? It was so funny. It was such an enjoyable experience doing that to this fucking complete douchebag of a human, right? But I needed some form of protection. Well, that was a horrible tangent. That story is really funny. I wanted to tell it, and I didn't have any other avenue to tell it. But what I'm trying to say is that in situations like that, in which they're very stressful, in which I'm getting a gun pulled on me for rage baiting this guy, I had to find a way to just survive. I had to figure out a way to walk away with my life. In that specific instance, I respected the fact that he had a gun and I didn't. You know what? I said, all right, you want to play unfair? Cool. All right. I was putting up some zingers on you. I was putting up some real good one-liners. All right. I had some really good plays. I totally win the fist fight, but hand versus flying piece of metal aimed at my heart doesn't really. Nah, you don't win that. So I obviously let him. I let him think he won, and I left. In situations in where drivers are fucking stupid and they don't know how to drive and their eyeballs are just not functioning that day and maybe their ears are just fucking clogged, you have to be able to like look at a situation and go, if I can't win, what is the next best thing? If I can't come out of this situation 100% in victory, What is the like? What can I settle for? Again, in that instance, I wasn't going to win the fucking the 1v1 in which he had a gun. So I said, all right, you win, and I drove home. Took my metaphorical L in that situation and left. Today, some lady fucking cut me off. I'm making a left turn on a green left turn. I get to go. Lady's taking a right on the corner. She's taking a right corner turn. Doesn't see my car for some godforsaken reason. She was driving a Tesla. The time I drove one of those, it's got sensors. You also have eyeballs, so you could clearly see me coming. But she cuts me off, and I'm looking at her. I'm looking at her through my window, and she's just on her phone. She's dicking around, not paying attention. And I'm thinking, would it be so bad to just fucking ram into her car and then like pretend I'm gonna go help her and then like choke her out and kill her right now? Would that be so bad? Is that like a net negative on the world? I don't know. Still, honestly, still pondering that. But I saw the situation. I saw the fact that she almost fucking crashed into me. I then saw that she literally was not paying attention and said, "All right, the most I'm gonna be able to get of a win out of the situation is just to keep going." Because obviously she doesn't even understand the fact that she cut me off. So who cares? You know, I can't really like. She's not even aware. So I'm just arguing with a fucking wall at that point. When this guy almost t-boned me on my right turn, I mean, I honked my horn at him, and then he just kept going, and I was like, really wish I knew where you were, and I could come pay deliverance to you. I don't know. My point today is that when you find yourself in these stressful situations, you can't let your emotions dictate the ending. Sure, obviously, for the examples I've used today, and the three examples I've used, my emotions, my immediate impulse emotional response was present. And then I looked at it critically, looked at it rationally, and I said, what is the best outcome for me? And then I made a decision based off that. My decisions, my final decisions, my outcomes were dictated based on logic. They weren't based on what I was feeling. If what I was feeling, what I wanted to do, all three of those outcomes would have been completely different, and I would most likely be in handcuffs. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to be able to figure out, and you need to be able to react accordingly in situations that are high stress. You need to look at situations and go, what is the best possible outcome for me in my situation? What outcome puts me in the best situation possible, and how do I achieve that? How do I get home from this guy pulling a gun on me? How do I get out of this situation where this guy is about to T-bone me, you know? A lot of decision making comes from a lot the impulse, the direct emotional response, the reaction. And not a lot of people are willing to take the time to actually just go, okay, wait a minute. Let's think about this. How do I get into a situation where I benefit from this, you know? How do I make this situation that has happened to me, this negative thing that's happened to me, how do I make this something good for me, you know? Not even necessarily good, but how do I just like how do I negate all the bad? How do I minimize the bad that has happened here? So my challenge for you, try to be better. Try to lessen the amount of emotional responses that you have and really think critically and really think for like a minute and go, all right, I'm not going to continue rage baiting this guy after he pulled a gun on me. I'm not going to slash this guy's tires because he almost T-boned me. You know, because let me tell you, they're hard decisions to make, especially in situations like that where, I mean, your life is kind of on the line. But I promise you, it is always going to be worth it to do that. Thank you.